Welcome back to This Was Supposed to Be Easy, your go-to podcast for connection, joy, and a good dose of laughter.
Hosted by two friends who've seen enough of life to know that it's never as simple as it sounds
or looks.
Each conversation celebrates the diverse journeys we travel, the moments of bravery, the strength we didn't know we had, and the joy we find along the way.
Because let's be honest, life is full of things that were supposed to be easy, but turned out to be harder.
And definitely funnier
than we thought. This is Amy.
And this is Cheryl. And if it were easy, we wouldn't be here. Amy, we're in this time period where it seems to be a lot more common to talk about gratitude and being thankful. You all know I talk about this all year round. I was actually standing yesterday in front of the wall heater that I had on in my house because it was just a little too cold for normal, and remembered and was looking at this sign that I have on my wall that says gratitude or thankfulness, I guess it says thankfulness as a lifestyle. That is sort of the launching pad, I think, for the conversation I'd like to have with you today and with everyone else. Because again, I've talked a lot about having a personal practice or habit of gratitude and how to train your brain to look for the good and all of those pieces. At the same time, I'm very open and excited about this time period of the year when people do maybe put daily posts on Facebook, every day for the month of November, something that they're grateful for. But as I was thinking about it this year and right now, I was really thinking about thankfulness as a lifestyle and how that can extend outside of just you and your own personal practices and habits that you might be building. And I promise I'll give you a chance to talk in a minute.
No, I'm taking it all in.
But, in terms of the personal work, in terms of the challenges that I give to my students, say in some of the courses that I teach, where I challenge people to maybe keep a journal and write something down or 3 things down every day or something like that. Today, I'd really like to think about community and the people that we connect with and build our lives with. And so that might be your family. It might be the people you spend much of your day with in a workplace. It could be a neighborhood. It could be an actual community or even a place where you go on vacation. But I just was thinking, how can we look for and think about spreading gratitude into our greater community and those people that we're with? And so I started looking for playful, fun ways to incorporate gratitude. I'm thinking about this. The label that I'm putting on this is gratitude games. And trust me when I say that yesterday or 2 days ago, when I allowed myself to play with clay a little bit and also then went for a walk, which I haven't done in too long, my brain was open. It just kind of like all the creative juices started flowing. And so really, really, really am getting excited about gratitude games and challenging people to maybe incorporate a few games into their own life, but even thinking about bringing together a virtual community around gratitude games. So there you have it. That's what I want to talk to today. Let's talk a little bit about gamifying gratitude.
Okay, I love it. I think that gamifying something can be a great way to do it. There's so many different kind of gamifying ways out there. I know I have like an app on my phone for gamifying mental health things to get yourself out of bed and brush your teeth and wash your face and kind of start your day. I know you've mentioned gamifying walking, and that was something that you had done before. I think that when we can make a game out of it, especially when we're able to gamify it with other people, it's a great way to incorporate that piece of community and maybe get you thinking about things that you didn't even realize you were grateful for before, right? Or recognizing it in a different way.
Right. And you mentioned that gamifying walking, and you're like, how do you gamify walking? And I know I've said this before, but I had this app, 99 Walks, that I used for a year. I absolutely loved it because the gamifying piece for me was I got to set my own goal for it wasn't about steps, it was about going for walks. And I got to set my own goal, and it monitored my goal for each day when I took the walks. But if I met my goal, I literally received my prize in the mail, which was a bracelet. And so, yeah, as I was walking the other day, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how to gamify gratitude and build something bigger, and it did. It made me excited. So maybe let's just I'm going to suggest that we share some ideas with others about just fun ways to spend more time in gratitude with others, if that makes sense. And I'll just start thinking on that walking theme with the idea of maybe going for a gratitude walk or a gratitude hike. So, especially again, if you're choosing to do this with a group of people or someone in your family, you can sort of play a version of I Spy with a gratitude twist. So, you might just be walking and playing I Spy, looking for things that are beautiful or that make you smile. Or you could literally, before you go for the walk, decide that you're going to look for things in nature that make you smile or make you grateful and share those out loud with each other along the way.
Yeah, I love that. I think it ties into what we talked about a few weeks ago with the RAS and looking for things specifically, and then you see more of it, right?
Yes.
I remember years ago, when the kids were much younger, I picked up a little paper tree from the Target, $1, $3,
I got the
$5.
same one. Yes.
Yes, yes, and it had, little colored leaves on it. It was fall theme or autumn themed, and, um, I remember on Thanksgiving that day, we all took turns, writing out what we were thankful for within our family, and it was really sweet, especially for the kids to see, like, they were thankful for the dog, and they were thankful for big family dinners, and they were thankful for time together and stuff like that. So we kept that tree and would put it away and kind of took it back out every fall and would look at it like, are we still thankful for those things? Or is there anything else we would want to add to it? Now the tree is, long since tattered and the leaves are still, are falling off of it, but we still have it. And it's a nice thing to have around that time of the year for just a fall decoration, but also to kind of remember too what we are appreciative for and what we've been continually appreciative for the kids and really my like our whole life, so that's a nice thing. It's a good kind of almost remembrance piece.
Yeah, as you shared about that tree, and I remembered I also got it in the Target dollar section. I bought a couple. I took one to work and to our early childhood group, and remember starting a meeting with it and just asking people to share things that they were thankful for in terms of that particular group and the work that we do together on campus and in the field for early childhood. And we added those leaves to the tree, and we would get that tree out and set it on the table each week or every other week when we had our meetings as something to remind us that even when it's tough and we're feeling overwhelmed or feeling busy, that there are reasons why we're doing this work and things that bring us joy that we can remember to be grateful for. And you don't need the tree from Target either, right? Like
Right.
you can go there were tree service people next door just yesterday working and cutting trees down, and lots of branches in the yard that you could easily take and tie paper strips to or something fun like that too.
It also makes me think you could even take, those rings that a lot of people make to count down, like the paper strips. You mentioned paper strips. So, like making those paper strips like a chain. And it makes me think that you could almost do the reverse chain in that every day you could write whatever you were grateful for and make the the chain out of it. So instead
Yeah.
of counting down to something, you could, count up, and you could add what you were grateful for and make a decoration for your house.
You could count up, count down, go both ways even, right? Like you could
Mhm.
pre-make all of the what you're grateful for and open it up every day as you're nearing closer to the goal or whatever it is. I love that idea of a paper chain.
Mhm.
So, another idea that I have seen is something related to, well, a couple of things, I guess, related to maybe like a family game night. Or I know we've often played games like at our governing board retreats or something like that. And so I'm thinking about gratitude bingo or gratitude Pictionary, both games I've played with groups of people, right? So you could take and create bingo cards that have different things to be grateful for, and even have those matching words in the little bin that you're drawing from, so that it's more of a, I might not have written this item down that I'm grateful for, but as we're playing the game and the word is shared or the thing is shared, it might evoke a memory for me, or at least put my mind focus onto that area. And then with the Pictionary, very specifically targeting the idea that when you're drawing your pictures and or creating the slips of paper that people draw so that they know what they're going to, drawing is the wrong word to use both times, isn't it? That people pull from the basket so that they know what they're going to draw. They are pictures that are depicting things that you're grateful for. And again, then everybody's guessing and focusing in on gratitude, either way, whether it's bingo or Pictionary. So, love the idea of taking a game experience and gamifying it.
Absolutely. I also was thinking about when you were saying you were playing with clay, in the way of feeling creative. I know one of my favorite things that I've done in the past, I haven't done it recently, but going to the like paint your own pottery type of place, and you can make a plate or a platter or something for your house that has, and specifically maybe you use it as a holiday, or maybe it's a plate or a platter you keep out with, cookies on it all year long. But having what everybody in your family or those that might come over be thankful for, and you could write that all out on there, and then you have a something to kind of keep that thought out that you can look at, something that feels a little special.
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of a different, as you said that, it reminded me of the thing I have on my wall, because I actually had my niece fill in different feelings you get when you're grateful or thankful, but also in a group, any sort of concrete object, right? That you might be able to take home with you or keep in your office, or like you said, a platter that you've passed around in your family. If you're in a group and you can each have a concrete item and pass that item around, so Cheryl's item has her name on it. And as it gets passed around the group, every new person writes something that they're grateful for related to Cheryl on it, so that when it comes back to you, all of your group, your community members' feelings and items of gratitude are on it about you specifically. It becomes a really special thing that you can keep for yourself, but was made by a group too.
I like that. I think that that again pulls into that group activity, which oftentimes I know for myself, I'm appreciative for the people around me. And so that's but I don't always say it as much as I should. So that's a great way to be able to say some of those things.
Yeah. I'm going to jump in and add another game, but maybe more of a childhood game. So it's been a long time and I don't intend to do it anytime in the near future, but like playing a game of tag, right? Where you're running around and playing tag. And, over the course of time, we've made all, freeze tag and TV tag and all kinds of things like that. So, compliment tag is another switch up for that childhood game where when you tag someone, you compliment them, is a fun way to build connections and show gratitude.
Right. And so I think sticking with those games, you might do I Spy, you might make a card like what we've done too with the goals for the year. You make a card of everything you're grateful for, or you show gratitude for, and whenever you see it, you get to mark it off. over the course of the year. So I think that those are some really great ways, especially if recognizing the way that you practice gratitude isn't always easy, or maybe it's not the first word. If you're someone who is always thankful to people who do something nice for you, let's say, you're at a restaurant and they refill your wait staff refill your water glass. You're always saying thank you. Someone holds the door. You always say thank you. But maybe it's a little bit harder in your everyday life to recognize and be thankful for all the things that are going on around you, and remember to say thank you for those things.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
not that you're not grateful for them and you're not an appreciative person, but maybe that, at the end of the day, you just have so much going on that that feels like one more thing.
Yeah. Another thing that I've done in family and in work groups is this idea of kindness coupons. And I know that can sound a little like, seriously, you're going to talk about that. But this idea of making coupons for acts of service, like helping, like I'm willing to help you with this report you're working on, or for children, I'm willing to read a book to my sibling, to give you extra time, can be a really good gift. I think in terms of building the connection and making you feel good about supporting others and in offering that act of service. And I'll never forget doing this at work during a staff meeting once. And it actually, I take that back. It wasn't even a staff meeting. I think it might have been a holiday secret Santa sort of situation. Anyway, I received a coupon for a hug. I was working in early childhood, lots of kids, so we were a pretty huggy kind of group, but we had one guy in the group, and trust me when I say it wasn't weird in any way, but he was like a big bear huggy kind of person who really wore his emotions on his sleeve. And I took this certificate for a bear hug and sort of taped it to my door. And so it would be a reminder to me that I do want to redeem this when I'm really feeling the need for a hug. And it was pre-pandemic, so I wasn't a hugger at the time. But I remember just receiving that coupon for a hug and feeling special about how that was an important thing for him to offer. And also, when I was ready to redeem it, knowing I was also sort of giving him a gift back because I was accepting that gift and knew that he also would feel good again in giving it. So, kindness coupons is a fun one that you can do and make appropriate to the setting that you're at.
Well, and I also really like kindness coupons for families or for when working with children, for a
Mhm.
couple of different reasons too. One, most of the time kids don't have money, right? So
Yeah.
like they're not going out necessarily and buying their own gifts and things for people. But the other thing is kind of what you said too, is that doing something, especially if somebody's an active service person, so doing something that's meaningful can change their outlook on something. So like I remember our kids would do coupon books I remember for Father's Day and things like that. So they did one for my husband, and I remember he redeemed one once, and I think it was like to play a game of Scrabble with our youngest or whatever.
Mhm.
But it was on a day where our youngest was just in a mood and he didn't want to do anything. But he didn't know why. He was just frustrated. So my husband redeemed that coupon. So Jeremy redeemed the coupon and made Carter kind of play a game of Scrabble. But by the end, they were both in such a better mood because of it.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where he wouldn't have wanted to just do it because he kind of wanted to be mad at the time. But then it was like, okay, nope, this is like the coupon. You have to do this. And then by the end of it, it changed the whole outlook of everything.
Yeah. Love, love, love that. I am thinking about kind of maybe a combo idea, which incorporates maybe a little crafting along with an adventure and spreading gratitude. And that is the idea of gratitude stones. So I've been in cute little boutiques where there's a little basket of stones that have been painted with words on them as reminders to be grateful, and cute little patterns on one side and the word on the other. And I've definitely bought some of those over the course of time, but I'll never forget being at the beach and finding a painted stone with a message at the beach. And it just makes me think that you can kind of get, a two for one if you have some community time. Again, it could be with your kids, it could be at a family holiday, it could be during a staff meeting at work or in a lot of other places, right? Where you take the time to actually paint the stones and to put messages on the stone that would remind you and or other people to be thankful throughout the day. And then later there's the fun experience of putting those stones out in the world, whether it's broadly out in the world, like I found one at the beach, or it's around the workplace, or it's around your home. I've seen people do this with sticky notes around their house or dry erase markers on a bathroom mirror, even, right? But putting the messages as reminders out there into the world to encourage whoever reads them, whether it's you or someone else, to be thankful throughout the day.
I love that, and I love that it's kind of something that you can do for other people because who's not gonna smile if they pick up a painted rock, or something that they weren't expecting. I also like, playlists, we've talked we have a whole episode about holiday playlists, I think that that's coming out in the next couple of weeks if it hasn't been already, but gratitude playlists are songs that just make you feel good, make
Mhm.
you feel appreciative, or make you smile. Like all of those types of things. And maybe it's because the song has an upbeat, meaning, or maybe it's because the song reminds you of something that you love to do. I know there are numerous Broadway songs, that I like listening to that I'm able to easily remember, okay, a night out with friends and be really, really happy that that happened. Or maybe it's a song you listen to on repeat during a vacation, something that have you ever had just like that really good feel good day? I usually find I do in like the mid spring when the weather's finally changing and it's sunny out and I open up my moonroof and, just feel appreciative. It's a good day. It's sunny. It's finally warm after months and months of being cold. I love those.
It
I
yeah.
love when music can make you feel something.
You're reminding me of that day that we finished our state conference, and several of us in the book club, I think it might have been the weekend I turned 50. I can't remember now, but we all went to brunch at Holly's favorite place, Tupelo Honey. So ended that whole really great weekend at brunch with my friends and walked out to back to the car garage to go home, and the sun was shining, but it was April, and by the time I got to my car, I found my old exercise playlist and rolled down my windows and just started jamming to that music, and it just like felt like such a great day.
Mhm.
And the music was the bow on the top of the package. And music does that, right? It
It does.
it does it so often. And also I'm reminded of our presentation together on leading with joy, and the fact that, we made a joyful playlist, which pretty much could be the same thing. And we played it all through the day. We played it when people were coming in, anytime there was a break or a work time period. And we're going to get to share that with the participants in one of their follow up emails. And at that point, it can become collaborative too, right? Like other people can contribute to a playlist in a lot of different, apps and things like that. And so the joy just keeps on spreading.
Well, I think that that's really important what you just made the connection. So often, most often, I should say, is when you ask someone what they do to feel joyful, or if somebody's in a mood where they're not joyful or just not feeling it, it's just not. Gratitude so often changes the feelings and brings about that of joy.
Mhm.
And most people who have a joyful demeanor, when asked, like, what is it that makes you feel joyful or continue that, more often than not, they respond with, I'm just a really grateful person. I don't love everything, but I'm really happy to have this, or this, or I like what I have, or I like who I
Mhm,
am. I'm grateful for who I am,
mhm.
or the people in my life, or things like that. So that kind of leads me into the question, Cheryl, as we're talking about gratefulness, and to get some of our listeners kicked off into thinking about what they're grateful for. What are some of the things that you yourself are grateful for?
Very good question, and I will preface whatever's about to come out of my mouth by saying that I love the idea of being grateful for the big things, but also being grateful for small, beautiful moments, even if it's a smell, right? Walking into a room and smelling fall spice. So, I love focusing my brain back in that direction. And so, what am I grateful? A few things that I'm grateful for. Well, right now, my office door is shut mostly to try to keep Walker's dog, maybe, from coming in and rattling around, which you might have heard throughout the podcast. In fact, a minute ago, she pushed the door enough that it tipped the stool and papers fell off and all of the things. And so, first, I'll say I am grateful for the two dogs that are in the next room, my dog Cozy and Walker's dog Maybe, just because, dogs bring so much love and don't talk back. I am able to see the waves outside of my window because the door is closed, so it's not blocking the window. And so I'm very grateful for just the movement of the water, knowing that it will not be moving as much in the very near future, but that I get to see it, that I just can be sitting here at my desk and staring at water. And I'm going to give you two more, Amy, before I ask you to tell me what you're grateful
All
for
right.
as a way to tie this up. I am grateful that I get to present with my friends. We did just do a presentation, you, Holly, and and I'm grateful that I get to do that, which is one of Holly's favorite phrases. I get to. I think the other thing I'll say right now is that I'm grateful for this podcast and the chance that it gives you and I an excuse to have more of the conversations that used to happen in the car only, not only, but and just that so many people are joining us along the way and sharing their thoughts and their reactions and ideas and the community that we're building because of it. How about you?
Well, I mean, that one's a perfect one. I definitely am grateful for the podcast. And very similarly, too, to get to share the ideas that we often have and want to know more of what people are thinking, right? I too appreciate the big and the little. And so one of the things that is kind of a twofold is that I'm finishing my last class of my first year of grad school, and I'm going to get a break for a couple of weeks, which
That's
the
huge.
I know, the program does not have breaks built into it. Every 8-week term, I literally finish coursework on Sunday night and start a new class on Monday morning every 8 weeks. And so this will be the first break I get since having started the program in January. And so I am pretty ecstatic about that.
Yeah.
And then 2, getting a puppy this year who is currently biting on my hand, but also lays on me more often than not while I do my work or, even recording this podcast. I love having her around, and that's been really nice. I think too, getting to, even though I am often my time is incredibly scheduled these days, I appreciate having friends and family who have been maybe a little bit more of the initiators of getting together, because I am usually the one to do that, and I just don't as much this year with kind of what I have going on. And so the opportunity to have other people to do those things so I can still get to see them has been really nice. And then also, like, I don't have waves to look at, but I have a huge tree in the backyard that is all different colors right now. So the
Mm.
reds, the gold, and it's very pretty, and it is a very, very sunny day out right now, and just a little bit of wind, so it's moving around. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate that there's still leaves on the tree, that they are beautiful colors, and that it's a sunny day, and I'm gonna take it.
Love it. Love it. So, as we wrap up for you, our listeners, we would love to challenge you to go out there, keep looking for the good, but look for ways that you can have fun doing it in connection with others.
Thanks for tuning in to This Was Supposed to Be Easy. Remember, the best stories are the ones we live.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep the conversation going because life may not be easy, but listening in should be.
Stay curious, stay connected, and keep wondering.